Welcome to Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 140. Divisible by 10. So it's a good one.
So it's wicked.
It's a good one.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us on episode 140, people. Big shout out to some new patrons. We are doing the last 2 weeks, I think. So we've got Skez, Radic, Sam, and a bunch of resubs. Thank you guys for joining our Patreon, supporting the podcast. If you're curious what Patreon is, it gets you access to After Dark, which is our podcast after the podcast, where we chatter more. We natter, we talk, things happen. Sometimes there's drinking. It's just
lots of the times there's drinking, and sometimes things happen because of the drinking.
Yeah,
which is common with drinking.
Yes, always fun, always fun. Yeah, and drinking only leads to positive things.
Imagine, you know how people like say, you know, when you're trying to like, I don't know, promote your book or a movie idea or whatever, and they say like, if you were in an elevator for 20 seconds with the person that you were supposed to pitch this idea to.
Oh, your elevator pitch or whatever. Sure.
Yeah. That's much easier way to say it.
Yep.
You just did a really good job with After Dark.
Was that it? I think so.
Yeah, we drink and stuff.
We have fun. We talk. Things happen. It's a good
giggle.
It's
oh
a good
man,
time.
the giggles.
Anyway, yeah, big shout out all you patrons. We love you. Thank you for supporting the podcast, and we'll see all of you in After Dark later on. Hey, hold on. I have a thing here that you put on here. You made your account. Is this June 16th, 6 days from now? You made it 8 years ago?
I know, right?
You're old.
I am.
That's cool. Congratulations.
I'm actually not even close to being a teenager. Can anybody be a teenager yet in Path of Exile land?
Well, mine was no, because I'm 10. So I was
but
2012.
double digits. Oh yeah, good for
Coming
you.
up.
Yeah. No, 8
Anyway,
years old.
well done. Good job. How's
Thanks.
your week?
Yep. Good. Yeah. Let's see. Justin, the upstairs is finally done. The leak upstairs, the done, like signed the paper, or I guess it's never a paper anymore, but signed the thingy thing.
Yep.
And paid the down payment, and it's done, cut ties. So, you know, now it's just back to the concrete and studs for the basement from November.
At least it'll be cool through the summer.
Oh man, and the upstairs is so it's just nice to be comfortable and have places where they belong. It's just so good. It's such a nice breath of fresh air. Like my starred emails in Gmail went from like 30 that I had to keep track of all these different chains for like all the different stuff that was going on with all the 2 different floods that we've had since November, and now it's down to 2.
Sweet.
Just the 2 quotes.
Nice.
From different contractors for the basement. So that's nice. We have had a very cold and wet June.
It's been beautiful. Man,
this week was
so nice. It was like there's a little bit of rain, but yeah.
Oh, lots.
It was nice. It
we technically are in
for
another
BC?
atmosphere.
Come on.
No, it's nice. And like Aaron and I were kind of nervous because the last time we heard the term atmospheric river.
Right. Yeah.
That didn't work out very well for us in November. It did. The atmospheric river decided to come right through.
That's right.
Us and a couple neighbors. But anyway, they're saying atmospheric river. Now, luckily, it's nothing in comparison. It's just, you know, a big deal for June here. But it's so nice that we're having such a lukewarm June because we had so much rain in, you know, this winter.
Yep.
That the snow on the mountains is so much. And if we had our normal summer, flooding would have happened all over again. Like it didn't matter about the rain. The water just would have come rushing down. And so anyway, it's been quite nice.
Cool.
But my family's gone, Justin.
They're so lucky, hey? They got a break from you?
My wife is driving up to her parents' place just for a nice little thing. They haven't seen each other in a long time. And so she thought it'd be fun to take the kids out of school for today. They're going up only for the 2 days. And
for her,
I can't do
it's
short trips.
Vacation from her problem.
What a great movie, hey?
Yeah.
But no, so I don't think I've ever had a week. I don't know what to do.
It's just a weekend. She hasn't
Still,
gone away
I don't
with
know
the
what
kids
to do.
before?
No, I'm just never.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm just gonna play PoE, I think. Pretty sure. That's it.
Sweet. You'll actually
it's
get to
gonna
play.
be great. Yeah,
Sweet.
I will. But it's kind of weird. Never done this before.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's fun. I always find when my kids and my wife go away, though, I hit like the 5-day mark. Around 5 days, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure how, and it's too quiet, but that'll be fun. At least you get a weekend.
Yeah. So that's it. How about you? How was your week?
My week was great. Lots of work. I went and saw Top Gun with my wife.
Oh,
that was
okay. How was it?
awesome. It was so
Was it good?
The
Like
music,
the story was actually good. Like,
yeah.
if you
Well, I
take
was
out the
laughing about that with my
nostalgia.
dad. Because, well, and that was my problem, because Top Gun is literally my favorite movie of all time. It always has been. I went and saw like a midnight show of it in 2002, I think, with Christina when we started dating. She got tickets to a midnight show, and it's just always been my favorite. So I was a little nervous going into it. Like, I didn't want to wreck my thoughts, but the music is always going to be the best in the first one, just because it was just so good at the time. And still is. I still love the music from Top Gun. So the music was better in the first one, but man, the action in the second one, because of what they can do now in technology, and oh my God, it was amazing. But also they used the opening song still, the highway to the danger zone one. So the beginning was like, at the beginning finished, and I leaned over to Christine. I'm like, we could go. Like, as long as I got to see that, I could just watch that over and over. But
Very
yeah,
nice.
we saw that, and then we've been catching up on whatever the Star Wars stuff is on Disney. Like, we hadn't finished the second season of Mandalorian, so we finished that, and now we're watching Boba Fett.
Oh, okay.
Because then I think after that it's Obi-Wan or something. Josh was telling me which order to watch them in. So, did you watch any of those?
No, I can't stand Star Wars stuff.
Why? It's too unbelievable.
No, it was really crappy. Oh, the movies were terrible.
Okay, Boba Fett has been really cool.
I've
Really
heard
good.
amazing things about the actual shows. It's like cool background. It's actually good storytelling.
Yeah.
But what turned me off way back when there was only 3 movies was, okay, so we have a bad guy. It's the Death Star. All right. We don't really know what to do with movie 2. So in movie 3, we're just bringing back the Death Star. Like, just imagine a trilogy where it's the same bad guy every time. To me, I mean, I was a lot younger, but I was like, no thanks. I can go outside and play some basketball. And then they came out with more movies and it was just as bad. And then they came out with more movies and it was just as bad. And then then I just couldn't keep up.
I don't really care so much about, like, if you can entertain me for a couple hours, then I'm fine. I don't overthink the, like, I don't know, the storyline to it. So it's for me. But the shows, the Boba Fett one has been really cool because they do a lot of like this back and forth, like in the past and present, but they do it in such a really good way that it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Awesome.
But otherwise, it's been work and Path of Exile.
Nice.
That was it. Big shout out, everybody. Thank you for the feedback. I know a lot of people enjoyed our episode with Scissorin. So thanks for all the positive comments and for listening. We had a lot of fun with that episode. What do we got this week in PoE? We're catching up a little bit, hey?
Yeah, a little bit. It's fun to catch up after we have a guest on. So 2 weeks, just 2 weeks. But so obviously did not bring up everything, but there were 2 different div card stories. Both of them were quite cool. I liked how personal one was, and
is this them like neat. Talking to the creator of the card about what their reason behind it is? Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
And one of them has 3 cards.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, what do you have to do to get a card? Like, do you have to
know anymore? It used to be you spent $1,000, but I have or that was to make it unique back in the day. I have no clue what it is now.
Like, do they just after you've spent $1,000, they get a hold of you, or is it like you have to go out and specifically email them?
I don't know if
it's
the same thing anymore. Maybe it's based on like percentage of kind comments on Reddit, and they just eventually reach out.
Did you know they have like a kind, nice, trustworthy person thing on their actual website?
No.
Like, you know how GGG comments are outlined in gold or a nice yellow?
Okay, yeah.
There's like a silver or a gray one that outlines people's comments, and that's just people that have been...
What would you do?
Like,
on their forum, can you upvote something? I don't think you can.
Well, no, but I think it has to do with something like somebody saying like, hey, you know, this person's really good, you should, you know, do this, or maybe GGG recognizes it, but it's something to do with those lines. Because I've had some people when back in the day when I used to do guide writing, people would respond with those things, and I'd be like, where'd you get that? That's so cool.
And that's what it's based off of, because I know it used to be something like if you hit 100, then you got your name showed up differently or a different color.
Oh,
but I don't know if they do that anymore. But
well, you better hope they do. But yeah, no, it's something to do with that. They said it was some sort of like kind thing program that they haven't advertised, but it's been around for forever because it's still something that of course applies. But anyway, yeah, kind of neat. So anyway, div cards, they were really cool, and screw you, everybody that knows how to make a hideout and really well. They were all fantastic on the showcases there.
They look good.
Dang. Oh, GGG's doing another Q&A, like about game mechanics, not about like, oh, why are you so stupid?
But that'll be in there.
Yeah, I actually hope that they respond to one of those, just like for fun, have a couple.
So they're doing like where you can ask questions or whatever and I'll answer them. Cool.
Yeah, I've asked 2 questions. I don't remember what they are, but I asked 2 in there, so I hope that they're there. I'll remember them if they reply to it, and I'll be, oh, I remember. I've been wanting to know that. Oh, thanks for whoever wrote that, and probably was me. Oh, one of them's about Doom, like the Doom rate, how Doom scales, how does it interact with curse efficiency and duration, and like there's just not a lot. It's
probably in the help section. Just read it.
Oh, forgot about that help section.
It's in game
because it's so
you should check it out.
Helpful.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, and then are you going to do any of your well-dressed? Are you going to dress up any of your characters for this well-dressed competition?
What is it?
It's a fashion show, Just. You dress your character up in free look, right? So just like finding base types.
Oh, so you can't use MTX.
And then there is one for MTX. So there's 2 different competitions going on.
Sounds pay to win. GGG.
It's just stupid. There's 2 separate competitions, you schmuck. One is for people that have spent money, and one is for people that are showing off unspent. Shut up. Anyway, it looks cool. And
that is a cool idea.
I love it. I think those things are awesome. I think there's 2 super sexy outfits. One's the assassin's garb. That's my favorite looking chest piece in the entire game.
Absolutely. I like the gloom armor chest because it reminds me of Dark Souls, because it's very like black and I don't know. I've just always, it's very
is
plain.
That the MTX?
Yeah. It's called gloom something. And it's very, I can't picture too many of the
default ones.
Default ones. No, I mean, I know Tabula. I know that looks like.
Gotcha.
There are some great looking ones though. There actually are some really good looking ones. So that's cool.
The full Dex one, the assassin's garb. The chest piece, it's just like the straps,
You can use
like
uniques,
you see the Witcher
right?
wear.
They can use uniques for it, I imagine.
Oh, maybe. I would assume so. Yeah, that makes sense.
There are some unique chests that look awesome.
How far out of
you don't use
uniques I am. I don't even think about it. Dying Breath, anybody? Will that win it? And then I also really like the Holy Saint mail. What's it called? I know what you're talking about. Armor endurance one that's high up there. Anyway, I like those ones. So anyway, pretty cool. I want to see what the people, I like seeing how creative people are with the non-paid stuff. But then even with the paid stuff, it's like, oh, you mean I can match stuff that's not in the same set? Oh, that's a good idea.
My problem, I have a lot of the paid ones and I do like them, but I get overwhelmed when I'm trying to pick MTX each character, because there's just to figure out like how many there are. It's like friggin' making a hideout. What I really want is a website where it has your account and your MTX, and it's like a wardrobe thing. Because what I want to do is do what I do with every character and go to there and just hit randomize and let it just go like and tell me which ones to pick. And I'm like, that looks ridiculous. I'll take it.
Totally.
Yeah. Because right now it's really hard.
It is. Well, yeah. And if PoE 2 comes out and they don't have a better system for MTX, like actually something like
what does it look like on each character skin? How does it look? There's so many different things.
Like a fashion souls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there needs to be a wardrobe.
Especially in the store before you buy stuff. Oh my goodness, please.
Yep.
Oh,
agreed.
Gimme. Badger's doing the
it will be in PoE 2. Go ahead.
Yeah, guaranteed.
You heard it here.
Am I peeking? I'm seeing some red flash. Am I good?
You're just excited. You're fine.
All right, sounds good. Badger's doing his team-based thing again.
Yeah, his 8th one. That's cool. BPL.
So is that what BPL? BPL.
Badgers Private League, I'm assuming is what it stands for.
Oh, you know what? You're a smart man.
Pretty good.
You did that
Pretty
all
good.
by yourself. I'm curious to see. I'm excited to see how some of the people in our community, because that's not something that I'll be able to do or have time for, but I'm curious to see how the people that are in our Discord that are going to play, how they're going to talk about it and react. Because I love that.
Everybody likes that one, and he's really good at making this team-based idea, which is very impressive in a game like Path of Exile, to be able to make something with as many people as join his private league, and then to create this team environment where you're working with hundreds of other people versus 5 other people. So it's really cool.
It is. So that's cool. Anybody in our community that's going to play, make sure you share feedback. I like to hear it. Let's see. Seething Hideout came out just.
It's hilarious, man.
I know.
I
2
said
weeks
that,
ago. 2 weeks ago,
was
you
it
joked
3?
it.
No, yeah, I do
know.
remember joking about it because it was when the Exarch one came out with the like rotating, fire and I don't know what it is, fire and ice side or whatever that one came out.
We thought that one looked cool, and you started joking around.
I joked, I'm like, what are they going to give you this one where it slows you down, looks like garbage? It to their credit, it looks fun. Like it's a cool idea. I don't like multi-leveled hideouts, like where you're, because then I mean, what do I know? I don't design them anyway. I just take them off of Hideout Showcase. But yeah, it made me laugh as soon as I saw that. I think somebody tagged me in Discord and was like, "Look what's coming out! It's the poop,
so
poop
awesome
level."
And you can go in and it like moves you around, it sludges you down, but at least there's a nice solid space there, a decent size.
It's weird that you can like pull it all out. Where's that in the fight, GGG? Like when you go into that second zone where it's all just the sludge, there's this thing you can hit that drains the sludge.
Maybe there is something like that. Nobody's found it.
They're like, you idiots, you just should have ran this way.
Right. But, sometimes it's kind of cool when, you're scrolling through your news feed or something, and then all of a sudden it's like the developer of this game still says there's three undiscovered secrets of this 15-year-old game or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's one of them. And they just forgot to turn it on.
What a hard thing to hold on to secret-wise. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah. I think the only way you could do that.
I was teasing Ziz in our episode for like 4 days before the episode came out. I just couldn't. If I knew that there was some like Easter eggy thing that they hadn't found, I'd be like, "Oh, you should check in that section." Whatever. Just
That's right. You're the worst with your kids for Easter egg hunts.
Well, I don't hide them, so it's fine. The Easter Bunny does, Tyler. What do we get?
Right.
What do we get lots of
sorry, Santa people. Forgot about that.
Just reach through and punch Tyler in the face.
So note to self, kids can't listen to this episode.
We got MTX stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Lots of MTX.
Harmony
there's
Mystery
so much MTX.
box is now in the store if you were into that. And then, so I actually quite like this. This is separate down into patches here, but there's 2 actual announcements about patches, and the one was the mangled text bug.
Yeah, they fixed it.
Yeah, and it was kind of neat. One thing that I actually quite liked about that post about how they fixed it was just seeing like, some bugs just have to be on the back burner. And I mean, that's what it's like in a lot of games that last a long time that aren't just annual releases. But, it was neat to be like, okay, so this is my job. And then it's like, okay, now I can go back and I can look at any bug I want that's still existing and I can try and fix it. And then, okay, now things are picking up. I can't work on it anymore. Got to do this. Okay, so now it's time to go back and pick a bug. And it was pretty cool to hear. I mean, I don't understand the complexity of it in that regard.
I love the post though. I love how detailed this individual went into explaining it. I like seeing stuff that makes me kind of feel stupid, like, because it gives me a chance to maybe learn something. Well, it gives me a chance to learn something. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know much about coding. I did a little bit of it, but not to this degree. And so I love where he like posts the code. And I mean, he does have this like information about what the code is, but then he says, upon first glance, this function appears to be doing something completely reasonable. I was like, yep, totally seems fine.
You're looking at it like, actually,
you missed a comma.
I agree.
But I do really appreciate that really long post because it's been around forever. It's been around for so long, and it can get very annoying where you got to kind of sometimes log out, log back in. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Sometimes you're like, I don't know what I'm picking. So buy Betrayal or whatever. So
right. Yeah. Oh, when it would happen in Betrayal and it was on the 2 choices you had to make about what was happening.
I would like to maybe just do that. Yeah. We'll see. just in your side though, you're just like kill. When I was playing with Josh this week too, he was like kill.
Just get out of here. I'm always +1 rank. I care about the fight. I know that you can get wicked rewards.
I tried this week to start learning it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, this has been my favorite PoE league in a long time. We'll talk more about that later. But yes, I did.
Sure.
This week I was like, I'm going to try and learn it. Haven't done a very successful job of figuring out, but I have a rough idea and I have a spreadsheet. So
good for you. Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of the many mechanics that you can't.
You could if you do it all the time. Like the
you
more
have
you
to.
play
You have to memorize.
That's
you have
right.
to know whose items are
who do you want in what section.
And exactly. And then which character provides these rewards at the end. in their boxes and like your tiny trials or whatever it is you like. So it is a lot of memorizing. There's nothing in the game that tells you so that you can be like, oh, right, this is what I wanted. Or, oh, shoot, with Hillock, I only like Hillock in
it gives you a brief description in the game, but actually, I think Betrayal actually gives you, compared to the rest of some things in Path of Exile, it does give you a reasonable amount of information, because when you mouse over the character, it says like, you know, something veiled outcomes, or like there are some subtle hints to it. And then
if you use a mouse,
well, I'm going to assume the majority of people use a mouse. So yes,
sure. But now they have controller support on everything.
Well, that's the problem for the controller playing people.
It is. It
just like trying to teleport to somebody.
Yeah, I did write that. Button. I wrote that bug. I wrote it up.
Did you?
Yeah,
that does seem like it should work.
Well, it would have been convenient. I mean, you had to use 6 portal scrolls to help me out this week instead of me just warping to you. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, or you could just finish the axe, but whatever.
Anyway, we'll get into that later. Okay, Buster.
I did appreciate them posting that, and then they did the other one. What was the other fix or the post?
The other announcement of a bug fix was that the initiate the new rank for guild members.
That's right.
The newest one. That's like, yeah, maybe you can join, maybe not. Let's just see how this pans out. They had full access to all tabs.
Amazing.
Do whatever they want. Take what they want. Do what they want.
I think that's amazing.
So, so they came out with an apology because, I mean, that doesn't matter for us. For us, we don't have a ranking system, really. We just have people that can edit stuff, and then, hey, welcome, have a good time.
And so we have people in our guild we don't have to really worry. It's not massive, and people, for the most part, are the same as our Discord, where they're chill, they're nice, and if they're not, I was joking with somebody this week. We've never kicked somebody out still.
No,
so the people that are in there are all very chill.
Right. If there's anyone new listening and you think and you've made it this far and you hate us and you think this is ridiculous, could you join our Discord and just say something?
Don't promote that. We don't want. There's too much positivity in there. We don't need negative Nancy's. No,
just one.
And
one. We just need a little pop the ban, Jerry.
Well, I could ban you.
See you later.
And they'll screenshot then you would let you back in.
Oh, wouldn't that be hilarious if you can't?
It's like
you can't let them back
permanently
in.
Gone.
That's right. Yeah. No. Anyway, so yeah, that was so they had the apology there, and Xbox is up to date with PC land, or I guess that's what I play, but console's up to date with PC land, but we're still at 18.0e.
Man, 0.1 is going to be huge. Mind blowing. It's PoE 2. It's PoE 2. Yeah, they had 0D and 0E. 0D included that mangled text, and then a couple other ones, which it was minor. There were just a few, but the E one was the one where they brought back the changes, or they brought back changes to Headhunter. And you and I had a really good discussion about this. Actually,
I want to talk about it.
Right, we're both streaming, which does not happen often, but we were playing on Monday. Tyler and I like to play PoE on Monday usually, and we were chatting about this change. And my comment was that I was really happy that they made this change. So what they basically did is now you get the Headhunter buffs for 60 seconds instead of 20 seconds. And they've done a lot of introducing new modifiers from mobs that you kill. So that also benefits people who are playing with Inspired Learning, because they would get those new buffs as well. And we were chatting about this, and I thought it was a really good change. But you also made a good point of why. Maybe you can explain sort of what your thought was.
So I know people love Headhunter, and it's a wicked chase item. And the game, I mean, when you go back, I forget how many leagues it was now, but remember when GGG had Chris come on like 3 podcasts in a row because it was kind of like, I guess, damage mitigation. I even forget what the issue was now. Yeah, classic fan, what was I complaining about again? But it was the one with, I think it was with Grim, and they were talking about chase items. They really wanted chase items, and Headhunter's always been at the top or near the top for a lot of that stuff. Mage Blood all of a sudden comes in, and that's a big one. That's the belt, right? That you got?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's some pretty epic ones that just change the build. And Headhunter's always been very special because there's even now support gems and different things that they're implementing into the game to let users have a tiny bit of that Headhunter experience without the actual Headhunter, right? And anyway, so it's cool to have all that kind of stuff, but there's been so many different patches that have changed, whether it's a mechanic that's changed it or new gems or whatever it is. Uniques always have a history of going like, hey, these ones are really good. Oh no, these ones aren't good anymore because this one's better, and this, and it just keeps going up and down and up and down. And then, 3, 5, whatever leagues later, it'll be like, hey, this unique isn't being used very much. We've changed it. We've made these modifications. In the past, I guess my point is, it's okay to have a unique that was great and then it sucks for a bit. I don't understand why Headhunter, it's like, and this isn't a criticism to GGG, do whatever you want, but in terms of the community and the community's expectation, granted, after GGG says, hey, we're looking into Headhunter and we're specifically thinking about it, I can see where expectation comes from. But before that, when the community's like, hey, what about Headhunter? Like, what's wrong with letting it suck for a bit? There's so many other good chase uniques out there, and chase gems and chase drops. Like, what was wrong with letting Headhunter suck for a little bit, a couple leagues, and then it comes back? Like, instead of having a very direct focus, I don't know. I mean, I have no problem with anything GGG did. I think, fixing it's great, but nothing wrong with treating Headhunter like every other unique. And if it's off for a couple leagues, that's how it goes.
Maybe. I'm not disagreeing. The only thing is that the only reason I think a little bit differently is that they didn't do anything to, well, they kind of did. It's so weird because with the change to Arch Nemesis replacing all of the magic and rare modifiers, and now it's Arch Nemesis, they came out at the very beginning of the league and said Headhunter cannot have more than one stack of an Arch Nemesis mod. In previous forevers with Headhunter, they would stack. If I killed 2 enemies with the same modifier, those stacked. They would continually build up.
Right.
When they dropped that with Arch Nemesis change, maybe it's just a thing of, because of the Arch Nemesis change, it did have a very big impact on Headhunter, especially because you're only having it for 20 seconds, which did make it very hard to maintain anything that is the benefit of Headhunter. So by keeping it where you still only get the 1 stack, but now you get it for 60 seconds, it at least gives Headhunter back that feeling of what it was. I do understand what you're saying, that they do go up and down, but I think it's a little different when you have this item that's always been such a fun chase item for people to work towards.
Sure.
I do like this change. I get where you're coming from, but to me, Headhunter kind of fits into a different
it's
genre
special?
than I do. And I know that maybe people don't like that, and I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just saying that it is what it is. Like, Headhunter just is, I think, always will be one of those big chase items. Gotcha. And I think the change is great because it made Headhunter come back in for people that wanted to play it. And the thing is too, I think when you're thinking about the long term of a league, those chase items start to make the game as you played the league longer a lot of fun. I will say I've had Headhunter before a number of times, and sometimes when you get Headhunter, it actually wrecks the league. It becomes it's a little bit too easy. It's a little bit boring. But if you're playing for a long time and you've got a purpose to chase something, then it's a little bit fun to have that. But it'll be interesting to see. I know a lot of people are very happy about the change that specifically like Headhunter, but you are right. There are leagues where a unique just takes a dump and you got to wait till it comes back. This maybe could have been something that they reintroduced in 319 instead of, I don't know what that was, but instead of
my computer
in the middle of a league. But I think it was a tough spot for them because Arch Nemesis was the thing that made the effect to the unique change, not them purposely trying to, maybe tone down the unique.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah. And then they had some other stuff. Apex, they can do additional monster. Okay, I haven't played with Apex Sentinel at all, so I still think it's garbage. But
well, I think the 2 changes they made to Apex are actually pretty fantastic, because to me, I'm trying new ideas, new concepts that I'm not familiar with. So I'm not leveling min-max and I'm not mapping min-maxed. And so I don't want everything to be stupid hard right off the bat when my, like I'm figuring out where my damage is coming from. I'm figuring out where this is coming from. And I'm, oh shoot, my attributes are screwed up. I'm going to have to wait 3 more levels until I can. So I'm loving only applying stuff with Apex, like only using the Apex one. And having that additional monster is fantastic because, you know, you'd run out pretty quick. And then I love that they're now adding a little bit more rewards as well. Like you did get some decent rewards, and sometimes you just get this like sweet drop, and like it's a lot of really nice stuff that I would like. So it's nice that that's been improved a little bit.
It's just hard to compare it to the other two for me. I with Stalker, I've got
Makes
such
sense.
a huge
Totally
amount of enemies I can do. With Pandemonium, oh my god, when you can juice a map, you're just firing it off and hitting massive amounts. With Apex, it's like, well, I almost feel obliged to hold on to it until I get to the map boss, because that's one of the best places for me to use it and hopefully get some items. But I couldn't get into Apex, and to empower an additional monster means it gets what, 3 now, because it was 2 before at max. I think I don't remember if the tree ever increased that, but it did it even have multiple fires? Could you fire it more than one time?
You could disable it and then re-enable it, but you could not bring it back.
Yeah. So
after it expired, you couldn't get a second.
Right. Okay. So anyway, cool idea, but I definitely prefer Stalker and Pandemonium myself. And then they came out with just other improvements and bug fixes. The hide filtered ground items is now on by default, which is odd because even after I did the patch, mine was still off. I had to go and enable it. So I'm not sure. It didn't seem to work for me where it put it straight to on by default, but it does make the game a lot smoother when you're not seeing like a billion things go, especially after like an alva. Although sometimes when I finish an alva, I'm like, did I get anything? Because I don't see the like wave of items floating around her. I've actually been doing alva this league. So anyway,
you're an idiot.
Yeah. I'll explain why.
Stupid.
Don't do it my way. Yeah, it's so stupid.
Here's one that's actually really stood out to me. Now this is terrifying because I still don't like the state of Arch Nemesis mods yet. Like like I've said before, I like the idea, I like the intent. I still think there's a few big things that need to change, just in my personal opinion. So when I read this, I'm like, oh no, please, I just want to play. We've done a lot of work reducing the memory usage on rare monster modifiers so that a greater variety can be present. Oh, never mind.
Continue.
No, I misread it, but now I'm going to keep reading.
You got to finish it.
So now, rare monster modifiers so that a greater variety can be present in each area. This means that the number of different modifiers that a Headhunter can steal is a lot higher than before. Yeah. I misread that as not greater variety.
Like they're going to come out with more?
Just a greater number of rares can be present in an area. So all of a sudden I'm picturing opening up a harvest like, hi, we're all rare.
No.
As opposed
to make it
just
so Headhunter actually can pull off more buffs.
Same with Inspired Learning. Different. Yeah. So it's a variety of mods, not an increase. So I completely misread that.
Yep.
And I'm very happy with that change. No, it's great. It is awesome.
That's amazing.
No, so I'm very excited about that change. Now it's nice to have a variety. Everybody loves variety.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think there are still some arch nemesis that needs to be fixed up, but I feel like for me, as I've played more into the league, the arch nemesis doesn't bother me as much as it does, besides a couple awful modifiers. There's still a few that I'm like, this is dumb. This is really dumb. Also,
that's really honestly the big one. There's some modifiers that just have to go.
There needs to be something in the game. So with regards to, because you know it's staying, with regards to the Syrian Exarch or Eater of Worlds altars that pop up, right? So as you're doing a map, you'll eventually get the little altar that pops up and you got to make a decision, top or bottom. There's nothing in the map, there's nothing in the game that tells me what have I done to affect the map up to this point. I can't, you know, like you can hit tab to see the map modifiers, but there's nothing that will tell me what have I currently enabled through the altars that I've picked.
Oh, right. What have I clicked on in case you don't
bricked
remember
my build
which one you chose?
And I've been like, what did I pick that did that? And I have no way to look back to find out what it is. It's actually quite frustrating because then there's something that's either causing me to not crit anymore, or there was something else that I was guessing, but it was really frustrating because I'm like, I actually can't. I was doing a map with Josh and I'm like, you're just going to have to kill stuff. I can spin in a circle and Vortex still drops, but I'm not critting to cause the ice nova to go off. And I'm not sure what I selected to do it, which I have no problem because I made the decision, but I just would like to know what decision did I make? What did I miss in that write-up of tiny little text that caused me to screw it over? So I hope they bring something out that lets you see what you've done so far.
I mean, a great place to put it would just be where the map modifiers are. Just list it. Have that so that
like it can alter expand. Something. Yep. Yeah. I agree. So anyway, it was a little bit frustrating this week because it happened to me twice. And so now I'm like slowing down. I get to each of these alters and I'm reading them going like, could that do it? I don't know. Maybe I literally can't figure out what it is. So it's annoying.
Individual in our Discord or in our guild that put the green dream in our guild stash, specifically not in the unique tab, but right there in the middle.
It's amazing. So if you're curious what green dream is, for BK's bingo league, we did a bounty, I think they're called. And so I think we gave away like a pack but we also gave like a hideout of just grass. There was a just grass hideout, which is amazing. And one set of falling leaves. And you had to be the first person to have the green dream drop. Recorded. And I love that somebody put that in the guild stash tab.
Good job, whoever it was.
So fun. We noticed it.
Now, Justin.
Yeah.
You hit 100 this week for the first time.
Was it this week?
No, it was last whatever.
Week.
Since
the last 2 weeks
we chit-chatted. Congratulations, Mr.
First 100 ever.
Mr. Justin. I almost used your last name. Actually, that is his last name, Mr. Justin. Hey, remember when Philip Phillips was on like American Idol or something like that ages ago? It's like we're talking like actually when I used to watch. I don't know why I would have ever known that. Like one of the first seasons ever of American Idol. It was his name was
Philip
Phillips.
That's pretty sweet.
Nice guy. Anyway,
yeah,
Justin, congratulations on hitting 100. How was the grind? Was it a grind?
Well, so I leveled up until 98 just normally doing maps and stuff, and it was fine, but it's slow. Although, yeah, it's slow. It's not even so that it felt like it was grindy because I'm loving doing maps and endgame right now, but it's just that when you die, it's like, God damn it. Like that's so much time. From 98 to 100, I did 5-way legions. So it's not as grindy. It takes a bit of time, but it's a little bit less dangerous. It's just, it costs a little bit in exalts because you're paying for some of these runs, but then I also had a lot of 5-way emblems. So I got friendly with some of these people who have insane builds that do these runs. And so I was at least providing emblems, and yeah, it was fine. It was not the most exciting way to get to 100 at all. But even in that process, because I would
just
stop
the 5-way part, you mean?
Yeah, because you're not doing much at all. You're just leeching the XP from it and picking up your loot.
You're still running around and doing stuff though, right?
No, you're not. Nope, you're not. You're literally doing nothing at all. I was working.
You're told to stand in the middle?
Yeah, you stand by this little rock and you just chill. I did reset a couple times, so I was helping them where you reset the circle. But I, for the most part, was playing a little bit while in meetings and different.
COVID's been good for that.
Well, you know what? It's a pretty common meme, but it could have been a friggin' email, almost all of them. So, you know, that's just life. That's the life I have. It's lots of meetings, but it was fine. I had to get 100 this league. I said I was going to in After Dark, or I was quitting PoE.
Yeah, that was really dumb of you, but congratulations anyway.
I couldn't let Josh. It was just, I told him, I'm like, this is your fault. Like he got 100 last league, and I was like, I can't let him have 100 and me not have a level 100.
Oh, I love it because people, when you're playing games with Justin, let's say Justin and I are playing a brand new game, a co-op game that neither of us have played before, and we're playing, and let's say by the end of it, somehow I'm level 8 in this game and he's level 7. Next time I come back, he'll be like level 10. He's like, oh, I just do a couple things. He'll be level 10, and I'll still, of course, be the level 8 because I haven't played since. It'll always be like that. But the thing that I love about this is that Josh and you can't level further. You can't beat Josh. You can't like get to level 101 and be like, oh, I just played a couple more maps.
The only thing that I realized is that I leveled a character. I mean, it was actually good that I leveled a character named Friend Carrier because I was going to play it with you.
Yeah.
I'll never delete that character now. So I'm glad I didn't do it on my tags character, because otherwise I just forever would never be able to play as tags anymore.
Oh, right.
I will not delete that character. I have like 30 characters. That one will forever exist. I'll just never delete it. So, because I always delete them based on the lowest level.
Oh,
so
okay.
I just go like, oh, whoever's the lowest, that's the one I delete when I start a new league or when we do a private league or something. So yeah, it was fun. It's so much fun when you're 100 because then you just don't care about dying.
I was going to ask if you like didn't care anymore.
Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. I'm like, hey, I'll try this. What do I care? I'm not losing 10%. It's actually freeing. So now I just have to get 100 every league so that I can enjoy the end game. But it's been fun. This week has been so much fun.
That's the only way you can enjoy.
It's the only way you can have fun.
It's like those people where they're like, oh, I didn't get to play in the first 2 days, so the whole league's ruined for me. So you're like, I didn't get to 100, so the league was stupid.
I tend to get to 96, and 96 for me is where I typically plan out a build to. And I'm actually quite fine to just sit at 96. Like that difference of 4 points doesn't typically make a huge difference in my tree. But for this character, I was so stretched. Like I was working with KJ in our Discord and some people because I was trying to figure out my build and how I could adjust things because I wanted to get an inspired learning in there. And then I've made some changes even since then for some things I wanted to try out. I am so tight on points that it would have been very, very difficult for me to do it anything less than 99 just based on how I had spread out the points. So it's fun to be able to play with a tree now where you're maxed on points. Like you have it all. And yeah, I decided, I don't know why, but I was like, I'm going to farm a Headhunter. I've never done that before. I've never set out to like farm an item. So I'm like, I'm going to farm a Headhunter. I've been doing Promontory for the patient card. Oh, okay. Which turns into the nurse, which then turns into the doctor and then turns into a Headhunter. So I've been doing that. I've got the Mage Blood. So the Mage Blood dropped for me off of a unique incubator, which is hilarious because that seems like the silliest way to get a Mage Blood. But I was running a Cortex map, had a unique incubator on, and the unique incubator popped, and there was a Mage Blood on the ground.
That's so cool, though. I love incubators. Are so fun. So fun.
They are, but they're typically not very valuable for that kind of stuff. So that's why it was so funny to have that be the way that I got my Mage Blood. But the Mage Blood is so fun because it just completely shifts up your build. Yeah, you all of a sudden can like completely rethink how you're going to do it. And in fact, if I'd had a Mage Blood from the beginning, it would be even crazier because then you could actually plan your resists around the Mage Blood because of your, your flasks, etc. So yeah, I have been mapping like crazy. I've been playing with Josh a lot this week. We've been doing maps trying to level him up, but also increasing the party XP. I think it would be a lot of fun to try a league where you have a group of people that you're just like really going to go map hard with, and everybody's, set up with a pretty fast build, strong build, and you're just, like 3 or 4 people just flying through maps just to watch and see what drops. Because it is fun. I have gotten back into this league, has brought me back to the idea of where it is very fun to be fast and speeding through things and just seeing flashing things everywhere. Well, you're coming once we. What are you?
I'm going fast.
Yes, you are. We're going to speed you up. How? We're going to give you new items. Just close your eyes and hold upright. This is all you're going to do. You get your little control-y pad that you got, and you just hold up to the right. Angle upright, and you just follow. You'll just follow. That's all you got to do. Close your eyes and just listen for sounds. So when you hear a sound, you just open your eyes and stop holding upright, and you grab your stuff. It'll work 40% of the time for sure.
Can you insert crickets?
No.
Can you do that for me, please?
Because it's true. It's true. But
I need to be capable of playing. Like the movement speed makes me nauseous.
Close your eyes.
You know what, Justin? Great idea.
You don't even have to steer. You don't have to steer your character at all. Well, that's what you're doing with your little control pad. I'm using like my
F1 wheel.
I'm coming, guys. That would be great if you could like hook up the gas pedal to be your move forward. And
wouldn't that be great? Yeah, leap slam with the pedal, just a little bit or all the way.
Anyway, my week's been a lot of fun. I've been playing Ice, Nova, Cast on Crit, which I have toyed around with the idea. I actually have considered making a 3rd character this league.
Dude,
which is
you are not going to even touch 319. I love this. Weird, it's so great. It's awesome, but you're not even going to touch 319. By the time our private league comes around, you're going to be like,
no, we're talking about private league today. in After Dark. We're talking about it. We're booking it today. So just a heads up.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Peeps. Our private league is coming. I'm actually excited for the private league too. So I have an idea for what I want to do in the private league, but I've just really enjoyed this league. Like, it's not.
This is how we make business decisions together. One of us is just like, by the way,
hey, let's do this.
We should have talked about this, but this is a thing. This is happening. It's
planning is boring.
It's already ordered.
Yeah, that's right. That has happened before
many times. This is like like the mic, for example. These mics that we have.
About it.
Yeah, we did actually. We did. Yeah. While you were on my doorstep.
I already knew we were going that direction. I was just like, hey, listen, you got to make sure the audio quality is tight. We're an audio only podcast. We don't have our pretty faces on the screen to be like, I don't know, staring at each other in silence. You don't hear any silence. So
even the awkward ones.
That's right. Sometimes, if I remember. But anyway, I've just really enjoyed this league. The end game has been so fun. The Atlas passive tree is so fun. The Sentinels make it so fun. Like, I just really, it's weird for me to be playing a level 100 character for enough time to have already leveled, empowered to level 3 and whatever the other one in God, what the blue one? The one that does mana reservation. No, that's the green one. Why can I never remember the blue one? It's so annoying.
I can never remember any of them.
Well, anyway, I've leveled 2 of them to 3. Enlighten. At level 100. So it's just weird to me to be playing this much as a level 100. I didn't think I would. I thought I would get 100 and be like, okay, well, I'm kind of done. But I've actively had a really good time this league playing. I think the end game is very fun. I've given myself a purpose with, you know, I do want to try out Headhunter. I could just buy one because I do have the currency for it. I'm like, I want to try actually, you know, farming one. When you're freaking, just calm it down. What are you looking at, your wave?
I'm looking at my wave file.
Just flat.
Right. But it's because we haven't looked at it yet, but Audacity's still kind of off. But
Audacity's got some weird thing going on. But I have really had a great time this league so far. I'm looking forward to the private league. I am still considering maybe making a third character. The other thing though too is I don't have any other game that I'm thinking when I have time to play that I'm into playing right now, and I haven't hit that point in PoE where I'm like, I just don't want to do this, which is typically what does happen, and it will happen at some point in this league. I will hit a point where I'm like, I'm just not feeling it anymore. I'm just for some reason not there, which is,
I think this is the longest you've ever played.
No, in past leagues I've made it through at least 2 months, maybe even a little bit more in previous leagues. It's been a very long time for sure. But this, because we're a month into this league. I don't even know how long we are. When did it come out? I don't know.
Sounds yeah, sure. Okay.
We're somewhere around there. We're between like 1 and 3 months, somewhere in that range. So
that makes sense to me.
Yeah. It's just been fun. I've really had such a good time in this one. It's fun. You know, I know we're going to talk about, I want to hear about your build, but with Josh being in endgame too, and he wants to do maps. So doing maps with him has been fun. And again, having this purpose where I've just given myself this idea of like, I want to try and farm one. I've not done it before.
Yeah.
I've had them drop and then I've purchased them. Those are the 2 ways I've gotten Headhunter in the past. And I'm like, well, let's just try something different.
I am going to guess that you forever, after this experiment, once you find your Headhunter, I think you're going to prefer the Mage Blood.
I don't know.
Flasks for you, man. I think you're going to.
Well, the only thing is,
big thing.
Now that you can use the instilling though, and when I realized that you could use the idea of if I hit 1 to use a flask,
trigger all of them.
I can trigger all of them by using the use when previous, you know, whatever it's called.
Adjacent.
The one beside adjacent is triggered. That's not the end of the world for me. That's actually not so bad because I'm hitting 1 anyway right now for the one flask that I can't use with the Mage Blood, right? But so I'm not sure, especially now that Headhunter's switched around. I'm like, maybe that would be kind of fun. I think Headhunter would be more efficient for mapping. I think Mage Blood is crazy for when you're doing bosses because there is no flask duration. There's no charges. To have 4 flasks on all the time when you're doing bosses is incredible. What you don't care if there's ads on a boss. I don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. I just always have 4 very strong flasks on. So I think Mage Blood for bossing is very, very good. I think Headhunter now with its changes would be a lot more fun mapping wise, because I think you would just get even quicker and get even bigger and get even stronger. So I don't know. We'll see. I feel like I probably won't play too long after I do get the Headhunter. It's just more a thing of trying to get it and then playing with it for a little bit, unless I come up with some other build to play.
Well, they're both belts, right?
Yeah.
So just do your belt swap. Remember how people used to do their gem swap? Like before a boss, they would go back and they'd replace whatever skill or support with it. I'm sure people still do, but I remember it being a very prominent thing. People used to do that quite a lot back in the day. You could just do that. Just be a belt swap.
Well, you almost could with those two belts because they give almost the same stats and they don't give resist. So that like they both give strength and dex, and then the rest is all related to whatever the fanciness is of the belt. So they actually don't do anything for the most part that would alter a build too much. But I mean, besides the major thing, but yeah, I don't know. I've had such a blast so far this league. I have some things that I don't like. I have some issues with it still, but it's not enough to make me go, "No, I don't want to do this." So how's your PoE experience been these last 2 weeks? How's the axe?
I screwed up. So not knowing how the Arch Nemesis mods were going to dramatically impact rares that much. My original build of being the Scion with using cast while channeling with Blade Vortex, it had the defense it needed to do everything that I wanted to. And if I had tried this build last league, I think it would have been so fun and very efficient. But being in close quarter combat with the mods that exist in this game it's difficult until you're completely decked out. Like the progress of getting to certain, like having this insane degen on the ground, like when you have a magic mods with the degen or magic enemies with the degen modifiers, like the stride, I think they're called striders, right? The flame strider, the frost strider, but do they all have it? I can't do that. I'm like maxed out with resist. There's nothing else I can do while I'm leveling or in white maps. And I just have this group all around me. But then there's a rare that I can't find somewhere in the mix and a couple other things. Like there's just the idea of some of these modifiers while leveling, or even before your build's completely set up, before you're able to actually spend, if you wanted to focus on trade, exalts on certain items to be able to be free of certain modifiers, like enemy modifiers. It just made it way too difficult. So my point is the closer combat you are, the more you have to focus on offense than defense. You know what I mean? Like it's all about getting rid of that enemy as fast as possible, as opposed to being able to handle that enemy.
I was going to say exactly that. I think GGG has gone very much in a different direction than what they've kind of said they might be trying to, which is this game is so focused now on do the damage first and figure out your survivability after, because as much as you might build for survivability, you're still going to die if you can't kill things fast enough. I wish I could remember who it was. I was watching somebody play and somebody asked for some advice on, I think it was actually the hunger dude. What's the guy that makes you go into the sludge?
That guy.
Endless Hunger or something. They were asking for advice on it, and this individual's they're like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but get more damage. If you can't kill him before that phase, leave and come back and try it later. Like for me, it represented where it felt like Grinding Gear Games has gone a little bit with Path of Exile, which is you have to focus on the damage, and then you can have. And unfortunately, it seems like defense is a little bit of a second thought, or you can maybe try and get it too. But if you don't have the focus first on the damage, the defense won't matter, because you won't kill the enemy and it will kill you. Regardless of what your defense is, at some point it is going to kill you. So it is tough when you're starting, because if you start a character and don't fully go decked out towards offense, you're going to be in trouble already in the axe, which has got me a little bit scared for our private league. But yeah, it is quite frustrating. Sure.
And so that's where I am. I'm with the Scion. I'm using the Juggernaut. I can't be stunned. I have great endurance charges. I have really good physical damage mitigation, completely capped on my resists. I'm not increasing my cap. They're staying at 75. But like my defenses are where they should be until I need to go farther. And the biggest problem I'm dying to is reflect and ground degen. And ground degen's not easy to avoid. You can't control.
You can't even see it half the time.
Well, half the time you can't. But then what if you're doing like a very narrow part of the map where it just funnels and like, what are you supposed to do? That's where the enemies are, right?
Wait.
Then
it's annoying.
You can't see like stairs or like little like bumps up the little cavern or whatever it is that's blocking you, or you're trying to get away. And so anyway, it's not, the game's not geared towards a normal player. Like here, look at where I am. I just hit level 68 or 69 on my second character. And my first character, I barely got to that stage, or I guess I got to level 80, but I was really starting to struggle. And that's why I went with the damage first. So I was originally the Scion. My defense first just couldn't cut it anymore because of just how the game's balanced right now. And so now I'm doing the exact same build, but as an occultist. Had to change a little bit because the tree is a little bit different. So to accommodate that, I had to make some minor change. But at the end of the day, it's still the same. Cast while channeling, Blade Vortex, it's poison, and I'm Herald of Agony as well. And like this is like my normal schedule of playing up to 8 hours a week. This is where I'm at 1 month later. And it's just, it hasn't been fun for me. It really hasn't. Now, granted, this past level up experience, I thought I was going to go a different build direction. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to switch. I was originally going to go Necro and go with a Reaper. Then I'm like, no. You know what? I want this build to work. Let's try it. And so before I ascended, I changed my mind. So I made the poor decision of having like my first Reaper tree. And I'm like, no. Okay, now I'm going to go do this heavy curse Blade Vortex build. And so my tree was kind of spliced up, and then I really hit a dead end. Like I couldn't do anything just because the tree was just so a mishmash. I couldn't do anything around Act 8. So in the most embarrassing moment since, what did we say? 2014 was when I created my account. So in the most embarrassing moment since 2015, about a year later, when Justin would always carry me anyway, I had to ask Justin to actually do Acts 8, 9, and 10 for me because I couldn't. But then it let me respec that I could ascend, and now I'm flying through it. But it has not been enjoyable because the types of the power of the ground degen, visual clarity, and just the fact that some offensive modifiers, like some of these offensive arch nemesis modifiers, are available on magic enemies is brutal. Like I really think just because magic enemies, and I think we should have this conversation in a couple of weeks instead, but I think because certain mods should be disabled on magic enemies because there's multiples of them. For example, there's that ice cave or ice, where they put like that cone of ice around you. What's that mod called? Right. So when it's a magic enemy that has it, that whole group can only cast one at a time. And that's a good modification to that modifier. But there's other ones where it's like they really should almost be defense only just because there's so many of them. And you do come into circumstances based on the other rares or the boss that it's around, or because you're leveling in Act 4 that you just, I don't know. It hasn't. I'm glad you've been having an awesome time because I've had the complete opposite.
Well, also though, to sort of like go against my having an awesome time, you also have to remember I had the worst Act 1 and 2 experience in this same league that I've ever had in my entirety of Path of Exile.
Yeah.
This league for Act 1 and 2 would have normally gotten me to quit, mostly had it not been for the podcast. I would have been like, fuck this. This is not fun. I literally was having the worst experience I've ever had going through the acts. So it is, you're right. There is definitely a threshold where you're like, okay, now I do have the strength, plus I have the defense, so I can at least start to do I can start to experience it, but they have to come up with a better process for getting people through the awfulness of Act 1 through 10. And I don't care what Chris says or what everybody says, they can make us do whatever they want. It's awful. It is not fun. It's not enjoyable. I don't want to do it multiple times. Don't make it even worse than it already is. Let me just figure my way through. There has to be some balance with Arch Nemesis to make it scale or something better. But just to be the complete opposite of me having a great time in this league, you have to also remember this was the same league that I had the worst experience I've ever had trying to get through the acts. So
and they have made some good changes, and they're always willing to make changes. I hope there are more changes coming, not tweaks, but actual
they need to be full on nerfs or removals for some of this stuff.
Right. And I do think it's a few very small things that are making this a very unfun experience for me. Like, honestly, the only reason that I'm playing PC with controller support is because you're still in it.
Mm-hmm.
I would 100% be on console right now with a character that's already decked out, that's ready to handle it, but I have to get there. And I'm a normal player with a normal schedule. I'm not very busy in outside of the stuff that I do for work around the house. I technically call it business hours, right? I'm doing all my house stuff, parenting, dinner, kids, until bedtime's done. 8:00, I sit down. I get a few hours each night, right? Most of the time that's with friends or my spouse. So what? I get 4 to 10 hours a week. I'm not enjoying the time I'm putting into the game.
Mm-hmm.
I have to for me to enjoy the game right now, I have to load up a standard character that had already gone through the shenanigans of this arch nemesis modifier system. We're going to forever call this League arch nemesis, not Sentinel, because of this change. But and it's one thing I am really liking for anybody that's made it to the end of this episode. One thing I am loving, though, because I have so much disdain for certain modifiers. One thing I'm really doing is I'm looking at every rare. I really want to use my Apex Sentinel, but I'm waiting, and it's like, okay, you know what? They're halfway dead, or, oh no, they're almost dead. Oh my goodness. Okay. But I never just turn it on and let it attack anybody, because there's just going to be somewhere I'm like, dead. You know what I mean? And so I have been enjoying that aspect of, wait, let's see, how does this? Okay, let's do it. And then
it's funny you say that. I was doing maps with Josh, and so we're doing Promontory, the map, and so we're planning out our pandemonium things, and so he'll run forward to find a big pack and fire off the pandemonium. But it's really funny because it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of what it's compared to. I feel like it reminds me of Jerry Seinfeld when he's joking about, I turn the water on full blast, because Josh will run in and then he'll fire it off. He's like, all right, it's off. And then he's running away as fast as he can, because we need to try and get in there together to actually kill them, because you've now souped up these monsters. So the Sentinel part of it is so much fun. It really has added a really fun aspect to mapping an endgame. And I
really hope it stays. I really hope it stays. I really want an Apex Sentinel to make rares harder. I love those fights. I love rogue exiles. I love those kind of fights. Just
change. You're gonna use them in the private league?
Just what?
They said, are you going to use the Sentinels in the private league?
No, I'm not going to touch Sentinels in the private league. Are you kidding me? I have to try and figure out how, with my play style, to handle degen through the axe while trying to play Righteous Fire by my second Descendants.
Righteous, that's right.
Sure. Yeah. I'll be using Apex. No problem.
I think I might go RF with you too. Anyway, I'm excited for this week. Hopefully we can do some maps with you too. And we're going to chat about the private league and After Dark. So it's going to be fun.
Sweet. This is a good week. It was a good week. It was nice. It is if you hear this. I mean, it's the end of the episode, but thanks for coming on last week. It was awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
This was a good week this week. Good catching up.
Thanks everybody for joining us for episode 140 of Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, AK Tags.
Tyler, Record of Days.
Patrons, we're going to catch you in After Dark. Everybody else, we'll see you next week with BK and 141. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure you hit that little button to give us a 5-star. We like to see that number go up. It makes us excited.
There's no 4-star button. If you were looking for it, there's no 4-star.
No, there's only a 5.
There is only a 5. It's funny. I've looked for the lower ones. It's just not there for us. I don't know what it is.
I've watched the increase every time it goes up by a vote. It makes me excited. So I appreciate everybody who's done that. If you're looking for more information, you can find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. Patreon. Discord, actually, more importantly, is also down there. Make sure you're on our Discord because it's oodles of fun. And Patreon and other ways to support the podcast are also down below. We appreciate ya. See ya.
Bye.